recording now, so don't do anything I wouldn't do. All right. First of all, how's it going, guys?
It's
Good.
How was your workouts this morning?
great.
Or if you haven't gotten it in this morning, no names. Over there in the corner, Chris.
Yeah, sorry. I'm at the office, so.
Okay,
Calling
it's
you
okay.
out. Woo.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
he is.
You get plenty of opportunities later this afternoon, huh?
That's right.
My workout clothes.
All right, ladies. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna have a little bit of a presentation here to begin with. So just kind of bear with me here for the first 15 minutes or so. If you got questions, feel free to write them down. I am gonna open it up at the end for questions, but just know that this is gonna be an interactive thing. It's not gonna be me dictating to you. The best way to get these done is to have you guys put in your input as well. That way I can kind of answer some questions, because if you have a question, chances are 5 or 6 other people have the same question. Does that make sense? Everybody good to go on that?
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the lesson today. The lesson is going to be about just creating a successful routine. You guys have heard me say this over and over and over and over and over. It's not the first time that you've heard me say it. You've heard me praise people on social media for it. Our challenge winners, all 3 of them, what do you know? Consistency, right? Joy, Corey, and Diana, all of them were consistent throughout. Having that consistent pace and that consistent, just having a consistent routine overall is going to help you guys get to that promised land, or in this specific case, just keep where you're at and maybe even improve. You never know, as we're heading back into the studio, hopefully here shortly. All right. So again, it's going to be about creating a successful routine. That being said, okay, so the lesson for today. So today we're going to be creating or thinking about what a successful routine is to you guys, all right? So this is going to include how to shape your environment, nutrition habits. I'm going to mute you guys really quickly just so that I know that the information is getting through. Sorry about that. Okay, can you guys hear me still? Yep, okay, cool. Yeah, so we're just gonna make sure that we think about, or that we actually create on a piece of paper, what a successful routine is gonna be for us, right? So we obviously know that things have been just a tad bit crazy during these times, right? But, you know, just because things are crazy doesn't mean that we can't create a new normal for ourselves, right? So we might have to let go of what the expectations were of normal, because there is a new normal now, right? So what we're doing today, or what we were doing yesterday, is probably not going to apply for today as far as our routines go, right? So the challenge here is just create a successful routine that we know is going to be temporary while this is going on, but also a routine that you are able to follow throughout the time that is left during the current situation, right? So set yourselves up for success. Obviously, I know that sometimes the circumstances and the situations are going to change for you. I believe Michelle is a good example of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so she was Wolfpack 5:15 in the morning every morning. Now, not really possible for her with her situation and what's going on, right? It doesn't mean that she can't create a new situation that will include a routine that she knows she can follow throughout, right? So just think of it as creating a new normal for yourself during these times to set you guys up for success, right? So now thinking about the big picture, what is success in a routine, big picture wise, right? So unfortunately, right now, we don't have control of what's going on out there, right? No matter how much we try, no matter how much we want, we can't control what's going on out there, right? So we have to control what is going on in here. What can I do to have control of my environment inside this wonderful place here, right? For most of you guys being home, some of you guys still going to work, you know, just what can you do to control your situation, either at home or at work, that's going to set up a successful routine for you, right? So here's the big thing. Unfortunately, you guys know I'm pretty honest, right? We can't say, hey, I'm a victim here because of the current situation and use that as an excuse, right? Exactly, Leslie, you can't, right? And use that as an excuse as, hey, now I'm just going to stop doing everything that's made me successful, whether professionally, in the gym, or personally, right? Just because I'm a victim. Unfortunately, guys, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we are all in the same situation, right? Nobody's spared of the craziness that's going on right now, right? So you just got to be really, really honest with yourself and just say, hey, I'm not a victim. This is just a circumstance that I have right now that I have to figure out how to navigate, right? However it is that you're going to do that, is up to you. I'll go over some pointers here with you guys as to how you can. But really, the big picture is, hey, there's a situation going on out there that I can't control, but what I can control is what my actions are during these times, to make sure that I'm successful once this ends. Because it's going to end, folks. It's going to end. And once it ends, right, are you going to be the person that made some headway, or are you going to be the person that has 3, 4, 5 weeks of catching up to do now on the back end because you didn't stick to the things and the routines that were making you successful in the first place? Does that make sense? All right, cool. Okay, so our environment is invisible and it's shaping our behavior, right? So if we're not happy with the way our days are going, what do? We change our days, right? I mean, it's that simple. You might not be in control of what's going on out there, but you're definitely in control of what's going on in here, right? And if right now your routine isn't up to par, or you're asking yourself, hey, I'm not being as productive as I usually am, it's up to you to change that, right? And most of us, if not all of us, are in control of changing or making that change. So just kind of keep that in mind as we're moving along, all right? So where do we start? What does your day look like? What are you doing during your day? Are you still going to work? Are you working from home? Some of us are, some of us aren't. Some of us are not working at all, unfortunately, right? What does your day look like? And then start from there, and then start building from there and on top of that, right? Because like I said, what your day looks like now might not be what your day looked like before, right? So what does your day look like today, right now, and then build around that, right? So what do you want your day to look like? You got to come up with a blueprint, right? So what is your wake up time? Stick to that every single day. Doesn't matter if you got to wake up for work. Doesn't matter if you got to wake up for your early session. It doesn't matter if you got to wake up because the kids are about to wake up or the dogs are going to go crazy. Set a wake up time for yourself. And whether you have to or not, whether it's the weekend, whether you've had some mommy juice or not, stay to that wake up schedule, right? Stick to that, and that's going to help you out. Michelle and Adrian know what I'm talking about when I say mommy juice. Stick to that wake up time, right? Be really, really stringent upon that, and stick to that, whatever that is. Stick to that bedtime as well, right? It is really, really hard. Believe me, I know. Sam's having trouble with that as well. Why do you go to sleep? What is there to wake up for, right? Like, why do I have to set this time to go to bed if I can just wake up whenever I want, right? If you're setting that specific wake up time, no crap, this is when I'm going to wake up, then that bedtime is going to make more sense to you as well, right? Because we still have to make sure that we're getting our sleep in, right? But that doesn't mean 4 hours of sleep in the morning and then I wake up, do what I have to do, and then I get a 2-3 hour nap, right? It just doesn't work that way. You still have to make sure that you're maintaining a good sleep schedule when it comes to that, right? So what is your bedtime? What is your wake up time? What are your eating times? That is also super important, right? Set an eating time, right? What's happening, and again, I am speaking from experience, right? I am not special or above or below any of this, right? My fridge, it's right there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's right there, right? I get up and walk, grab that big tub of ice cream right now if I want it, and just start eating away, right? Because it's this close. Guys, if I'm at work, right, and I'm walking around and I'm coaching you guys and I'm having to lead by example in that manner, do you think I'm going to come home or run to my fridge and grab that tub of ice cream and eat it? No, right? I'm not. But it's hard to not do it when it's staring at you right there, right? Every single minute of every single day, I've been cooped up in my house. I haven't left my house except for going outside for some air here for probably the last 8 days or so, right? I'm just looking at my fridge, and there's a lot of good stuff in it. But I'm setting specific times of when I'm going to eat, and I'm sticking to those, because if I don't, I'm just going to start reaching for that ice cream, those chips, and I'm just going to start putting it in my mouth, and it's going to be a really, really hard thing to stop, right? It's like the old Pringles commercial. Once you pop, you can't stop, right? So set yourself some nice set times where you're going to eat and stick to those, and don't deviate from those, because that's when you start making mistakes with snacks and such, right? So schedule your wake up time, your bedtime, schedule your eating time, and also schedule your workout times, right? Wolfpack ladies, I got to give you ladies like a huge thumbs up for that, right? Whether it's because you're still working, or whether it's because you're just like, hey, this is my time, this is when I'm coming in. Every morning, I know I don't even have to take attendance in the morning. I know exactly who's going to be in that session, because it's every single day, no matter what, it's not going to miss. I know that Joyce Strovel and Corey are going to be 6:45, no matter what. They're not going to miss. They're there, right? Set that workout time. It doesn't have to be 6-7 days a week, right? But set yourself a good 4 to 5 days a week where you're like, hey, this is my workout time. Sorry, kids. Sorry, husband. Sorry, dog. Sorry, whoever else. These are my 30 minutes. Y'all leave me alone. Let me do my thing, and set those 30 minutes for yourself, period, end of story. I know it's a little bit difficult for those of you guys that have kids running around, but kind of leaning into my next point is, if you got kids at home, what's their schedule? What are they doing, right? And what are they eating as well? And that's the other big thing that I get, right? It's like, well, it's hard to stick to the diet right now because I've got all this food at home, and I'm at home all the time, and I got to cook for my kids, right? And that's a very, very real concern. But I'll counter that by saying this, right? If you don't want to eat it, or you shouldn't be eating it, do you think you should be feeding it to them? Probably not, right? So within your house, start eliminating stuff that you know is not going to be beneficial for your diet, right? Even for your kids, right? You got a bag. If I have a bag of Cheetos here, I'm gonna pick at it, right? Even if they're my sons, which 9 times out of 10 they are, right? But should he really be ingesting that right now? Also, he's not getting out as much as he should. He's not doing PE. He's not doing all that stuff, right? I probably want to keep him away from that as well. So by keeping him away from that, I'm keeping myself away from that. So just make smart decisions with your routine and with your food within your routine. That way you're not eating a bunch of stuff that shouldn't be, or that you shouldn't be ingesting. All right. So the kids need structure too. Make sure you give them to it. But within that structure, make sure that you leave yourself 30 minutes. That's all we need out of you. 30 minutes out of the day to just mentally check out and just get a good sweat, good workout in, and then be good to go from there. All right. So have your husbands help you guys with that, right? As much as you can. As much as you can. I know some of you ladies, you're like, I don't need no husband. I got myself. Hey, whatever works. All right. However you can get yourself those 30 minutes, that's what you need to do. It is super important. All right. So now that we have that in mind, right? It's like I said, our environment. My fridge is right there. My counter is right there. What is in my fridge and what is in my counter? Make sure you guys have really, really good control of that, right? So instead of going to your counter and looking at a bag of Cheetos or Doritos, maybe look at your counter and put some nuts on there, or some healthy fruits on there, something that's going to look nice and pretty and appetizing, that if you do make that mistake where you're like, I just need to put something in my mouth right now, it is a mistake that's not going to make or break your day, right? So make sure that you're really smart about what you're leaving out as well, because that's also super important. It's easier to grab stuff that you don't need to eat if it's out there already, right? So successful nutrition habits, just make sure you guys are meal planning, prepping. Personally, what I like to do is I like to plan all my food the night prior, right? So I know that I'm eating all the nutrients that I need to eat. And I know I'm eating in quantities that are enough also, right? That's also super important, because you can have the opposite. You know, you can go all the way one way, or you can go all the way the other way, right? Where if you're not eating enough because you're just cooped up, it's also just as bad, right? So again, setting that schedule and making sure that your meals are planned out. I know it's a little bit difficult for us to plan out an entire week on a Sunday, right? That's what it says here. If you're able to, by all means do so, but at least plan your food out the night prior, or at least have an idea of what your food is going to be the night prior and what times you're going to eat those foods. That way it's easier to stick to that schedule, right? So again, planning all day, every day. Planning makes perfect. That's all we did in the Army. We plan, and then finally we executed the mission, right? So just make sure that you guys are planning specifics. What am I eating? When am I eating? With who am I eating it with, right? Have accountability. Guys, you don't know, but all of you guys have a specific coach that is assigned to you right now. Use them, right? If you don't know who that is, let me know, and I'll hook you guys up with that information. I got you guys. So if you need an accountability partner, call us, call each other out, hop on Zoom here and hang out and have a meal with you. Hey, what are you eating? What are you putting down your throat right now? Or, hey, no, don't do it. We got to hike early in the morning. You know what I mean? Or whatever the case might be. Keep yourselves accountable. I know some of you ladies are really, really close, right? Keep yourselves accountable. And if you need that extra accountability, right, come to us. Believe me, we will hook you guys up, right? And not in a way that is bad, but we can help you guys understand the bigger picture and the why. And I think that helps a lot in making decisions, right? Understanding the why. Like, hey, don't eat that. Okay. Hey, don't eat that because this is what's going to happen to your body medically, right? That's a little bit different there. You get a little bit more of the information in the background. You're probably going to make the right decision a little bit more than just, hey, I can't eat it because. You know what I mean? So focus on making sure that you guys have balanced meals, right? Balance is the key to everything, right? So make sure that your meals are balanced and that you're getting enough of the protein that you need, enough of the fats, for sure, fats that you need, and making sure that you're getting enough of the carbohydrates that you need as well. All right. So again, if you have any questions about what those portion sizes should be to you, please reach out to us, right? You guys are paying a pretty penny for this membership right now. Get some value out of it. We're here to provide that value for you guys. So please do not be afraid to ask. We got some time in between sessions. You guys have our email. Email us, contact us, text us, call us. It doesn't matter. Feel free to hit us up with any diet question that you might have. But balance is going to be key moving forward while this is going on, right? So make sure that you have a protein source and a carb source, but also make sure that you have a fat source as well, right? That's going to be also really, really important. Do not completely eliminate the fat out of your diet. All right. So set your times, know who you're eating with, know what you're eating, and know what that portion size is going to be specifically for you. If you guys did the challenge previously, using those macros might be a good idea, right? Or maybe, hey, ask one of the coaches to be like, hey, can you hook us up and let us know what portion size we should be eating? Here's my weight, here's my height, here's my gender. That's all we need. It's that simple. It'll take us 5 minutes. You guys will have numbers, and we can help you guys out with that, right? So just make sure that you're getting that balance in. So here's what's happening to me, and this is actually really important, right? I'm having to work from home right now, and I can't go into the studio. Many of you guys know I felt like crap for like 3 or 4 days, and you know that was that. They told me I had to stay home until I got my test back. I am having a really hard time figuring out what the line is between work and not being at work, right? Because I feel like I'm at work all the time, right? It's almost worse that I can't go into work because I am at work all the time, right? So what is that line, right? Where is that line? Because what's going to happen, going back to one of our previous lessons, right? If you don't give yourself enough time to breathe, right? And you don't set a specific routine, hey, these are my work hours, and I don't care what happens, even if I'm at home, between 11 and 2, I'm not answering any emails. I'm not hanging out with anybody from work. I'm not answering any work questions. I'm not doing anything that is related to work, right? Because if you're at work all day, even if you're at home, guess what you're going to want to do? I am stressed out, and now I need to eat something, right? Because I'm at work. I can't get out of work. I can't leave work, right? You need to set that balance in that time where you're like, I don't care. I understand that I'm working from home, but these are my hours. These are my 30 minutes. This is my time for me. I'm not answering any work emails. I'm not answering any phone calls from work. I'm taking these 3 hours to just chill out, relax, stick to my schedule, stick to my routine. And whenever you get back to your actual scheduled work hours, then deal with it then. You know what I mean? Unless somebody is dying, I promise you there's not a problem that can't wait 2 to 3 hours, right? So set yourself those specific times where you're like, this is work, this is me. And stick to those, stick to that routine. Do not break that routine unless you absolutely have to. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, so big things, just make sure that you guys are eating full meals. Be satiated, right? Eat so that you're not hungry, because if you're hungry, you're just going to snack all the time. And if you guys are eating that proper balanced meal, you won't be hungry. If you're introducing some healthy fats into your diet, you won't be hungry, right? It's when we eat all protein, all carbohydrates, and no fats, that's when you don't get satiated. That's when you don't feel like you're full, right? If you're walking around hungry all the time, chances are it's going to be because there's some sort of deficiency, right? In most cases, it's fat, but it can be any. There's going to be some sort of deficiency within your diet. So your body's asking you for more food, right? So make sure that you're eating your food in a nice, big, actual meal portions, and staying away from the snacks and making sure it's balanced with all three: carbs, fats, and proteins. That way you feel nice and full and you're not reaching for that bag of chips every 2 to 3 hours. All right. So healthy snacks, baggies of nuts, whole grain crackers, veggies, all that good stuff that you already know is healthy is what you should be eating. All right. So that being said, I'm going to unmute you guys. And like I said, it's just an interactive thing. So I'm going to call on some of you guys. Hopefully you guys have a little bit to put into the discussion, and then we'll kind of open it up from there. So let's unmute you folks. All right. You guys are unmuted now. Michelle, I know that you had mentioned that your schedule had changed a little bit, right? So what are some of the things that you have done to kind of get your schedule back on track? Not back to what it was before, because I understand that's impossible, but a lot of people have that same thing that have happened to them, where maybe they can't have that same stringent schedule that they had before because they had to adjust for some shape or for whatever reason it might be. What are some of the things that you've been doing to just stay regular even throughout this time?
The first month I did awful because 2 weeks I didn't have my kids and I didn't have a job, and I literally was just home all day, and I was just eating and resting, laying around and eating all day long, and it was not good. And I finally, I went on to some Zoom meetings with you guys, and I really started and then the hospital visit too kind of gave me a big scare, but I've made an effort now I'm literally going out and walking every single day. Even if I work out, I'm still getting out, and I either do a hike or I do a walk, a few mile a walk every day. So that's now 8 days in a row that I've done that. And
heck yeah,
just started my greens this morning. And, it's not impossible. Obviously I have all kinds of time now, but my thing is I'm not doing 5:15. Good, good for them, that they're doing that.
Yeah,
but for me,
you don't have to, right?
I'm still working out, but I'm just getting extra sleep that I wasn't before. because, you know, I have my husband that likes to stay up late and watch TV, and it's hard for me to go to sleep when he's sitting here watching TV.
Yeah.
I can't fall asleep with noise. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
up later than I was before, because I used to be like, I have to get up early and I have to, you know, go to work. And so now so for me, I'm choosing to sleep more, which is good for me also. And then I'm working out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that ladies, Michelle's a really, really good example of having to adjust, right? She adjusted her schedule to what her new normal is now, right? And that's what's important. For her, having to change the schedule or keeping the schedule just wasn't an option, right? So she changed her schedule, but she's still sticking to a schedule, which is the point, right? You have to stick to a schedule, whatever that schedule is. Even if that schedule is different than it was before, stick to a schedule, because that's going to keep you active and it's going to keep you eating all the right things at the right times, right? So just make sure that you're keeping to that schedule, and that you're adjusting the schedule if you need. Now, Leslie.
Yes.
You are a good example of somebody that has just kept the schedule as it was before. What are some of the things that you have been doing to make sure that that happens for you?
Okay, so I'm working.
I already ate, thank you.
I'm working at home, and so it just helps for me to just maintain that schedule and try and keep it as much as normal what I've done in the past. And other than last night being up too late, I try and make sure that I get to bed at a regular time and not do that. And I eat the regular things during the day as I'm working, so at the regular time. So
got it. So what that tells me is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. There's different ways, but in each situation there is a schedule set in place, right? Even if that schedule changed, even if that schedule is different from before, or even if that schedule is exactly the same what it was before, right? It's a schedule, and that's what matters. You got to make sure that you are keeping yourself in some shape, way, or form regular. That way, you're not making impulse decisions. And that's kind of where we go south, right? We start making those impulse decisions, and it's like, ooh, this is going to go in my mouth. It doesn't, you just can't do that right now, right? You're not active enough to be able to afford that extra oops, is a good way to put it, right? So understand that and understand what your situation is. And again, as I said, right, I'm sorry, you are not a victim. We are all in the same position, in the same situation, right? So you have to understand that it's up to you specifically, right, to do the right things and do the things that you're supposed to do. And it's up to us to help you guys with that, right? So again, we're here not only to be nice, and not only to push you, and not only to put together workouts for you. Yes, all those things are really important, right? But we're also here to keep you guys accountable, right? So everybody needs accountability in a different way, right? And everybody's schedule is different, right? So everybody, it's specific to you. However you hold yourself accountable and however you keep yourself regular, that's up to you. But you have to do it. It has to happen, right? Because again, you got to ask yourself, do I want to be the person that is going to come back into the facility in however long and have to catch up? Or am I going to be the person that's going to be like, hit the ground running, I got this? You know what I mean? It's easier to be the second person than the first one, for sure, right? For sure. So Michelle, super proud of you I know you had a lot of different situations happen to you there, and you did not care. You still did it. So that's super, super awesome. So here is the part where you ladies get to ask me questions, right? So it doesn't have to be a diet question. It doesn't have to be a workout question even. It could just be a life question, right? What are you guys thinking? Talk to me.
Have a great day, you guys. I have to go back to work now.
All right, Adrian. Take care.
Bye,
You
Adrian.
too. Bye.
I do too right away.
What are your questions? Ask away. I'm here for you.
So what are you having for dinner?
Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
So, oops, sorry. I shut off Asia for some reason on accident. Okay, so for dinner, my dinner plan tonight is going to be, I'm gonna leave a lot of my fat for night. I think I'm gonna do a workout right before, that way I can have a little bit of recovery. So I'm probably gonna have a steak, and then I have some like organic low carb bread that I'll probably toss it on, and then maybe some greens, and that's it. You know what I mean? Not take this with a grain of salt, right? This is my specific plan of attack that works for me. Okay, might not work for you, but this is what's working for me. Right now, I am keeping my carbohydrates as low as I possibly can keep them. Right? I know I don't need the extra energy right now. Right? I don't need it. If I'm walking around like I was while I was in the studio, and you know, at the end of the day, I'd have like 30,000 steps, have walked like 17 miles, and have burned about 5,000 calories, right? That was my normal day when I was going into the studio. I would need to eat a lot. I would, just to kind of keep up, or otherwise I wouldn't feel okay, right? Or what would happen is I'll teach 2 super awesome sessions, and then the third one I'd be like, ugh. Right now, that's not the case. I don't need all that extra energy, right? So for me specifically, what's been working for me to keep that weight, even without working out for the last 5 days or however long I didn't work out for, I just kept my carbohydrates really low. And that kept my weight in check, where I wasn't gaining any weight, I wasn't losing any, I was just kind of maintaining within a pound or two. But I also wasn't losing any muscle mass. And that right now is super important, right? That is the hard part right now, guys. The muscle mass. The workouts, they're super awesome for cardio. They're super awesome for burning calories. What most of us don't have is what?
Muscle.
Weights, right?
Yeah, I picked up those 25-pound weights, and I'm like,
Woo! They felt like 60s, didn't they?
they did. They were awful.
Yeah, exactly. So here's why keeping that muscle mass is important, right? Not to go off on a tangent, but now that we opened up this can of worms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this here means extra free calories burned, right? The more muscle mass that you have in your body, the higher your basic metabolic rate is going to be, right? Your BMR, you guys heard that term before, right? Your BMR means free calories burned, right? The higher your BMR is, the higher the amount of calories you're going to burn just being alive, just breathing. Like if you lay in bed and you breathe and you did absolutely nothing for the day, that is how many calories you would burn if you take into account your basic metabolic rate, right? So I'll give you guys, again, me as an example, right? At my current weight, my current muscle mass, my basic metabolic rate is somewhere about around 2,000 calories, right? So I could literally sit in bed, do absolutely nothing, and burn 2,000 calories for the day. That is on top of doing nothing, right? The reason that happens is because I have muscle mass, right? And I'm keeping it on. So if we start losing that, your basic metabolic rate, or those free calories, are going to start slowly creeping down. And now you got to do more activity and eat less to stay the same, right? So to avoid that, you have to make sure that you're keeping that muscle mass up. There's a sweet spot within your balance, right? You have to eat enough to where you're keeping your muscle mass, right? Because even if you're not lifting a bunch of heavy weights, you can hold on to what you have if you're eating correctly, right? So what is that sweet spot for keeping my muscle mass on, but also what is a sweet spot to make sure that I'm not putting in a bunch of calories that are going to add weight to me, right? So everyone has a sweet spot. What is your sweet spot? You have to find that for yourself. And the way you do that is by making sure that you are on a schedule. It all goes back to the schedule, right? You got to find your sweet spot, and that sweet spot is going to require you to have fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. But again, you want to make sure that those levels are correct. And right now, because we aren't moving as much as we usually do, right? What is going to, again, work for me, and then again, you can adjust it for whatever is going to work for you, and we can hook you guys up with your specific numbers if you want them. But what's going to work for me the best right now is going to be fat, protein, and then carbohydrates, right? So that might be something that you want to incorporate into your diet as well, because again, the reason that we want carbohydrates in our system is for energy, right? For moving, to have that explosiveness, right? There's not much explosiveness needed right now, to be honest, right? There just isn't, other than your 30-minute workout that you got going on, right? Or, you know, if some of you guys are going to hike, so on and so forth, that's good. But for most of us, including myself, that is forced to stay at home right now, right? It's just not a good idea. So just kind of keep that in mind and adjust it to your lifestyle. Everybody's lifestyle is different. If you're moving a bunch, still feel free to get that bigger portion from carbohydrates. But if you're not, and you're just kind of hanging out and you're quarantined, and you're doing what you got to do, unfortunately, then, you know, keep the carbohydrates in the smaller portion of your diet. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so if I'm hiking or walking every day at like 5:30, is it better to eat my dinner before I go on the hike or after? Because then it gets late, then
it depends. So there's something called we call it the golden hour, right? In the fitness industry. So here's the thing with eating say you go on a hike at 5, right?
Yeah.
You would have had to eat in your food, if it's physical, at around 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock if you digest food quickly, for it to be out of your stomach, out of your digestive system, or out of digesting, excuse me, not out of your digestive system, but out of digesting, you know, for your body to efficiently either start moving it or start using it as fuel, depending on what it is that you have eaten, right? If you eat at 4, you go for a hike at 5, all that food's just going to be in your stomach. It's not doing you any good.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the last 2 days I've eaten before the hike, and then before that I was doing it after. So I was wondering.
Yeah. So going back to the golden rule, this might be good information for you guys, right? If it's micronized, something that's in powder, right, or it's liquid, about 45 minutes to an hour, you can get away with it, right? Protein shakes,
yeah,
whatever the case might be. If it's actual physical food, you got more like 2 to 3 hours before it's actually running through your system there, right? So you got to be really, really smart about when you're timing your food, depending on when you're working out, right? So yeah, go for it, Leslie. Go for it.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Yep. See ya.
I'll see you.
Yeah. So just be really smart with your timing and your food, depending on when it is that you guys are working out. That's also super important. What else, ladies? Any other questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right. So that being said, if you guys are interested in accountability, just reach out to me. You guys know the phone, the studio's phone number, right? The facility's phone number.
Is that the one that I get texts on?
You got it. All you got to do is text that number back, and either myself, Alicia, Haley, Jen, or Wade, we're gonna answer your question, right? So that those text messages, they aren't just automated. Like it's actually me sending them, right? It's not like a computer or like a.
I never responded, so I didn't know if I was supposed to or not.
You don't have to respond. It's more like a, hey, we're here for you, right? But if you want specific information, shoot us a text back, right? Be like, hey, I need this, this, and that. Or what can I do to improve this, this, and that? Or what are some healthy habits for this? Whatever the question might be, like I said, it doesn't even have to be fitness or food related, right? It can even just be life related. We're all going through the same things, right? Text us, let us know, and whatever coach is assigned to you is going to answer back. So just know that we're here to help you guys with accountability as well.
How do we find out who our coach is?
I will tell you.
Okay.
Who wants to know?
I do.
Me.
Everybody? All right, let me write you guys' names down. All right, I'm going to stop recording this, and then we'll go from there.